So you booked your cruise. You're all excited. Now what do you need to do? There's a lot to do. There's a lot of things you can also do to save money too and add some extra value to that cruise. Let's talk a little bit about that. So now that you're all booked up, now what do you do? Well, there's about 3 things that you can do to add extra value to your cruise that you just booked. We'll talk about that first. And then when you're on your cruise, you can do some other things to even add value to that cruise or another cruise in the future. So let's talk about that afterwards. But before we talk about all these value adds, I have a favor to ask. How about you hit that subscribe button down below and give me a thumbs up, because that really helps me and helps this channel with the algorithm at YouTube, and it will allow me to do more cruise content for you in the future. So if you can, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell for notifications, and hit that like button, and I will be very, very happy. So you booked your cruise and you're saying, my job is done. I got a great price and I am ready to go, raring to go. Let's get this party started. That's awesome. You can do that. I know a lot of people just say, you know what, I got a great price. I'm happy with it and I'm going to just go with this and be happy and go forward. There's some things though that you know that you might be missing out in adding some value to your cruise. Do you know you can reprice your cruise after you book it? That's one of those things that you can add some extra value for your cruise. So just remember, hey, your price that you got might not be the best price that the cruise line will offer for the same cabin. So if you check, sometimes like around 2 to 3 times a week, then you might catch a sale that will actually save you some money on your current booking. Also, make sure you check other categories of cabins too, because sometimes you might be able to upgrade yourself for a nominal fee. Or if it's even better, it might be for the same fee. Or even better, which happened to me once, I was able to move to a suite and actually save money on a booking. That was crazy. But you know, in COVID crazy times, sometimes those type of things happen, and it happened to me once. But that only happened because I checked my prices. Now, there's a little bit of a gotcha when you do reprice that you have to worry about. Sometimes when you book, you might have received onboard credits for that booking. If you reprice, there's a chance that you might lose those onboard credits if that promo is no longer going on when you reprice. So understand that when you do reprice. You might lose some onboard credits. Make sure to understand where your onboard credits are coming from so that when you do reprice, you can ask your travel agent or you can ask the cruise line representative that, hey, on this reprice, will I lose these onboard credits? And they will let you know right away. So that's the gotcha. Don't fall into it, but always check, and you might save some money and you might get a free upgrade, or you might actually save money and get a free upgrade. So you're all booked up and you're checking for repricing. That's awesome. Now you have access to the cruise planner. This is where you can add some really nice extra value to your cruise. Everybody knows about the beverage packages and the dining packages and your Wi-Fi packages. Those are pretty typical when people want to do some extra spending on the cruise and do it ahead of time so that they can get a good price versus what they can get on the cruise ship. But did you know that there's some other really cool packages in that cruise plan that's kind of hidden underneath the sheets? Make sure you look for them because they can really add a nice amount of value, especially if you're traveling with kids. You can get an arcade package for them where you can get some extra tokens, get more value for them playing in the arcade then versus, paying as you go. It can get kind of expensive in that arcade, especially if you have a few kids and, they don't have any limit on their card to just swipe. It can be a kind of scary bill to see at the end. So get those arcade packages and get those tokens already kind of loaded up on that C card for them, and they will be a very happy little boy or girl. Now, if you have any person in your life like my wife, they love those pictures on the cruise ship. The photo package is one of the best values you can get when you book it pre-cruise. Photos can be very expensive on that cruise ship. People love to have those mementos, those personal mementos, and the cruise ships know that, especially when you see those pictures of you hanging on that wall and you're like, oh, that's a really good picture. You want to get it. Yeah, it's going to cost you though. But if you purchase your cruise package with photos, that will save you a ton of money. And it is a great thing, especially if you have someone in your party that loves those pictures and loves bringing home those mementos. It is an amazing value. Now, one of the final things you can do to add some more value to your cruise before you actually get on the boat, you might receive an email from your cruise line about the option to upgrade your cabin. And usually it's through some sort of bidding process. Each cruise line has a different way about going about this, but it is a way that you can definitely add some extra value for your cruise by getting an upgrade to a cabin that is normally outside of your price range. But with this bidding process, you can get it at such a price that you are able to experience those cabins that before you weren't even thinking about as an option or a possibility for you. So the Royal Up program at Royal Caribbean, I can't remember exactly the name at NCL, but they do also have a bidding type of process, is where you will actually get an email about usually 30 to 60 days before the cruise goes off that you are given an option to try to say, hey, if I was to give you X amount of money per person, and it's usually based upon 2-person occupancy, you have to always pay for 2. So solo travelers, remember, when you do this, you're probably going to still have to pay for 2 people, even though you're 1. You get to bid saying, I'm willing to pay an extra $100 per person to move from cabin X to cabin Y. Now, if you never know, you might get that bid accepted from the cruise line. And now you're in this much better cabin that you never even thought that you would be able to afford because it was going to cost you a lot more money than the $200. And now you're there. And now you have this new experience that you would have never been able to have before. So the Royal Up program or other cruise programs that allow this bidding is really kind of cool. It kind of also takes away that whole situation where you would have to go at the terminal and say, hey, do you have any upgrades that I can purchase before they set sail? And it just kind of gets that out of the way, and you don't even have to worry about it now. Now you know, hey, I got upgraded before you even go to the terminal, and you know you are going to have this amazing experience in this brand new cabin. Now, there's a couple things that you really have to worry about with a Royal Up or any kind of bidding program for an upgrade. You don't get to choose where your cabin's going to be. So usually they will let you know where your cabin will be a couple days before the cruise, and it might not be enough time for you to say, oh, I don't like that location. Can I move from cabin X to cabin Y because they're in the same category, and I know this one is available and this one that I'm in right now is not really one that I kind of like because its location, or it's a hike to the elevators and you have some mobility issues. So that's one of the kind of things you got to really think about with these bidding programs. You don't get to choose where your cabin's going to be. So if you're a person that is a light sleeper and you're afraid that you're going to be put somewhere that there's a lot of noise because it's underneath the pool deck and you don't want to hear the shuffling of the chairs during the night, or just the basic drone of some of the machinery that happens over by pool decks, that's something you got to kind of take in consideration. Or you could be put in a position far away from an elevator. And if you have mobility issues and you're on a big ship and you don't want to have to make that hike back and forth to the elevators in the morning or in the evening at the end of the day, it can get to be cumbersome, and it might be not worthwhile for you to do this Royal Up because you specifically picked a cabin for your specific needs. And if you get upgraded, you lose that cabin that you handpicked, and you don't know what you're going to get. So just make sure about that. Make sure you know what cabins you are bidding for, where are they located on the ship, and what kind of potential issues you might get from upgrading to that upgrade to that cabin before you decide this is how much money I'm willing to pay for this upgrade. Just remember that, and you should be fine. So cruise day is here, you're on the boat, you have that first drink in hand and you're relaxing and you're saying, this is the life, this is where I want to be. Now you can add some even more value to your cruise if you want to. This is, again, purely optional. A lot of people don't necessarily want to go to the different raffles and the different rigmarole that win little trinkets here and there, but some people do. And it's pretty cool because, hey, I'm the kind of person that loves free. And I also kind of like the whole concept of, hey, you never know what might happen. And so that's just me. I go, my wife lets me go, and we just kind of say, you know what, you do you and I do me. So yeah, I'll be at the raffles because you never know. I might win that spa treatment. I have. Or I might win that really nice necklace for my wife. I have. So it's pretty cool. So definitely do it if it's something that's interesting to you, because that can definitely add some extra value to your cruise. It will also add some extra memories. There's also sometimes with the initial bingo games on that first or second night where you can even get an upgrade to your stateroom and get an experience in a brand new one of those really high-end luxury suites that the cruise line has that happen to be empty for this cruise for whatever reason. And that is an amazing experience that if you didn't go, you would have never had the option to try to win that experience. So definitely take a look at that cruise planner or whatever they call it at the cruise line. Some people call it a compass. Some people call it the Princess Patter. There's different names for it, but it's usually always on your phone because everything's going technology-wise. But if you're not the kind of person that really likes to use their phone on the cruise line, there's always going to be a printed version of this too. So make sure you check it out because there are some values in there that you might add into this. The cool thing too is it's something that you just don't have to do, but if you want to, you can. So now what I'm going to talk about is something to add value, not to the cruise that you currently are on. This is to add value to your next cruise. So this might be your very first cruise and it's near the end of it and you're saying, wow, this was amazing. We really want to do this again. This little section is for you. Or you might be an avid cruiser and you know you're going on future cruises. So this, again, you probably know about this, so you can just skip to the end here because you probably use this as well because it's such great value. But there's something you can do on your cruise called the next cruise option, right? It's every line has a different slogan for this. Royal Caribbean uses next cruise, and I'm going to probably just use that because it's really what it is. It's planning your next cruise. When you do this on the vessel, you get some really good benefits. You usually get lower pricing, or in lieu of lower pricing, they might give you onboard credits for the cruise. Or you might be even getting, in conjunction with the onboard credits or the savings, a reduced deposit. It's an amazing thing. Now, some people who are planners might say, oh, but I don't know what itinerary I want to do or what ship I want to be on. And I'm not even sure if I want to be on this line again. I maybe want to try different ones. Well, if you want to try different lines, this might not be for you. But if you just had a great time on this line, you say, I really like the way this line handled things, then definitely take advantage of this because you're going to get a better pricing or you're going to get onboard credits and you're definitely probably going to get a reduced deposit. And if you're a planner and you're someone that says, I need to know the itinerary, I need to know the ship, and I need to do my research, don't worry. You could still do this plan and make a decision afterwards, 60 days afterwards, about which ship and which itinerary you want to be on. You just will do the same thing as if you were to choose one, but they, instead of booking that specific ship, they will actually give you a certificate to use that will get you what you want. And you might have to just do it within 60 days so you can get the benefit of the onboard credits or the savings. You would probably still retain the lower deposit that you purchased with by purchasing that certificate. So that's what you're going to want to do. Definitely take a look at the next cruise option, see what they're offering, see what kind of extra value you can add to your future cruise. Usually it's in the form of savings or onboard credits and a reduced deposit to book that cruise. So definitely take a look at it if this is something that is interesting to you. So that's it. There's your tips on how to add some extra value to your cruise right after you book it or when you are on the ship. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please again, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. If you didn't like this video, hit that dislike button 2 times, all right? 2 times, double tap it. Or you can even maybe, if you really disliked it, quad tap it 4 times. But really, please, if you really like this video, please hit the like button, please hit subscribe. I would love you to do that. And if you do, I will promise that you will get a lot of extra value on your cruise because you're going to go to that free play casino night where they give you about $5 of free play. And as you're hitting that button, you're going to win $250. That's what's going to happen. So hit that subscribe button. Thanks a lot, everybody. This is Rob from Cruise Sea-kers. Remember, seek the seas.